All right, good morning, Karen. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an episode that I personally have been thinking about and looking forward to recording for quite a while.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Karen is a real estate agent in Georgia who has built her business off of YouTube, but has also started teaching other people how to build their businesses off of YouTube. Now, in particular, she focused on teaching real estate agents, but ultimately what she teaches about YouTube would can apply to anybody who's running a YouTube channel because she has figured out how to really maximize that platform to generate leads and see success. The first thing I want to do here, Karen, is talk through your book, because in your book you kind of lay out for people. I believe it's been also right. I believe it's 7 steps to creating, a YouTube channel and getting a YouTube channel off the ground so that you can really start running. So, if you don't mind, could you just kind of briefly walk us through what those 7 steps are that you need to do to get your YouTube channel set up and ready to rock and roll?
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, yes, last summer I wrote a book. It's called YouTube for Real Estate Agents: Learn How to Get Free Real Estate Leads and Never Cold Call Again, because I hate cold calling. And when I discovered something that would allow me to attract business to me, it worked like gangbusters. And so I just wanted to tell everybody who would listen. So, the 7 steps are: you got to figure out who your ideal client is, and then make your content specifically talking to that person. You want to do a little bit of research, find out who your competitors are, if any. I think most of you are going to be very pleasantly surprised when you do this research. Then we talk about SEO and keyword strategy. We talk about good channel art, like what is the cover photo for your YouTube channel? What should be on there? How do you make it look good? We talk about having a good call to action at the end of every video, and it's not what you think it is. We talk a little bit about the mindset of getting over your fear of being on camera, because so many people say, like, oh, I can't do it. I'm too old. I'm too heavy. I got too many wrinkles. I got too much gray hair, and all these silly things that don't matter at all in the grand scheme of things. And then we talk about time management. Like, how do you do this and be consistent when you're out there trying to sell houses every day? Because it is a time commitment and you have to be consistent in order to see results. So how can you do that so that you no longer have to buy expensive leads? You no longer have to be calling for sale by owners and expireds. We can't really go door knocking anymore. We can't really do open houses right now. So if you can attract business and have clients coming into you on a regular basis, it changes the game. Like, I got a lead this morning. It came in while I was sleeping. She said, we are in the military. We're being transferred to Savannah. We're going to be coming there for our house hunting trip at the beginning of September. We found your videos. We want you to represent us. Like, she's already chosen me to help her. And she doesn't even interview anybody else. Like, it is my lead if I want it. So that kind of business, oh my goodness, it changes everything for you when you're getting 5 of those a week.
Thanks for going over that framework, right? Again, it was like a year ago I read the book, but it's just all coming back to me now. One thing that I found very illuminating when I read the book was you were talking about, keyword research and how keyword research should be part of, your kind of initial planning phase for your channel as you're planning out your content, your topics. Can you talk just a little bit about that whole world and how that works, just for people who aren't familiar?
Absolutely. So for me, keyword research is done before you ever hit the record button and start making the video. Keyword research allows you to figure out what people are typing into either the YouTube search bar or the Google search bar. And this is why I love YouTube so much. YouTube is a search engine. It's the second biggest search engine in the world. It's owned by Google. Google is number one. And so people don't really put a lot of thought into YouTube. They think about making a video and putting it on Facebook and having it go viral, or doing an IGTV video. But people are looking for the content on YouTube because it is a search engine. So we have to know, what are they typing into the search bar so that my video will show up. So let's say that you live in Denver and you want to make a video for people that are relocating to Denver. They don't know anything about the area. They are doing a little bit of research on Google because, oh, my husband just got a job offer in Denver. We're going to be moving there, but I don't know anything about it. So maybe they Google cost of living in Denver. How much is a typical house price in Denver? What is the real estate market like in Denver? Moving to Denver, things to do in Denver, major opportunity or major employers in Denver, you're going to Google and doing this search to see how many other people on a monthly basis are typing in that exact same phrase. And there are any number of keyword research tools that you can use. I really like Keywords Everywhere. So if you go to keywordseverywhere.com, it's a plugin for Firefox and Chrome. I think it's $10 for 100,000 search credits. So you sign up for this service. Then when you do that search on Denver, for example, I can do it right now as we're talking. If I Googled moving to Denver, and I have that plugin, it will tell me right below the search bar that 1,600 people a month are typing moving to Denver into the search bar, and that the competition is only 16. So on a scale of 1 to 100, it's getting a 16, which is pretty darn low. So you've got 1,600 people that are Googling the phrase moving to Denver. Wouldn't it be awesome if your YouTube video showed up on the first page of Google search results totally for free, not with any pay-per-click advertising? And then your video is there, and you all know people would rather watch a video than read a 3,000 word blog post, right? But then if you make a blog post to go along with it and you put your video in the blog post, you're now just dominating the first page of Google search results without spending $1 on running an ad. It's pretty amazing. But you have to know that they're Googling moving to Denver, because what if only 50 people a month were Googling that? It might still be worth making a video on that topic, but what if 0 people a month were Googling moving to Denver? You wouldn't even want to waste your time making that video because nobody's looking for it.
Yeah, that is so cool. I remember the first time like I installed that tool and started playing around with it. You like feel this sense of like power and infinite wisdom of knowing these things about what's being searched, what's not being searched. And it is almost kind of a game, right? Because you will find, there are some search terms that just aren't being searched for and some that are, but there's also some that have high competition or low competition. So it's kind of a game to find that sweet spot of high volume and low competition. For the searches. So yeah, it is a pretty powerful tool to use. And truthfully, I don't use it nearly enough, right? I'm sure I would probably have more views on this YouTube channel and more listens on this podcast if I use that tool a little bit more often than I do. So that's cool. Next question here. You talked about, one of the chapters in your book is about channel art and the background banner and all that stuff. Now, I don't know about other people, but for me, that was like one of the biggest barriers to getting my YouTube channel started, is I had no freaking clue what to use for background and channel art. And then even if I had like a few ideas, I had no idea how to go about creating it and what program to use to build some channel art. And then even when I had something, I couldn't get it the right freaking size because YouTube is very picky about the size, the dimensions of that channel art. So I guess what tools do you recommend to make the process of creating channel art easier? And then, I don't know, is there anything you can give us for like ideas as to what good channel art is?
Absolutely. So, in my mind, when somebody new lands on your YouTube channel, I want to be able to look at that channel banner and know exactly what this channel is about, who is it for, and where are you located. A lot of people will just put a photo of the city skyline, but if I don't live there now, I might not recognize that skyline, and then I have no idea where you're located. And I don't know if it's a real estate channel or is it a travel vlog? What is this channel about? So I like to say, have a nice background picture, a picture of you, the name of your channel, the area that you service, and then my favorite thing is, how often are you going to be uploading new content? Because if you put on your channel art new videos every Wednesday, there is no better accountability partner in the world than having that right on the homepage of your channel. If you say new videos every Wednesday, you're going to be a lot more motivated to make sure you make a video every single Wednesday and you don't miss it. As far as how to create it, you can save yourself all the headache and just go to fiverr.com and hire somebody for $5 or $10 to make it for you. If anybody doesn't use Fiverr, it is the most amazing place to find graphic design work. And you're getting people that are all over the world that usually the exchange rate is working in your favor. So if you find somebody in Sri Lanka that will make this for you for $5, and it's amazing, it's way better than anything I could make because I'm not a graphic designer. Or you can go to canva.com or PicMonkey or Snappa and just choose the template of channel art and then use one of their pre-designed templates and just modify it for yourself.
Cool. Thank you for that. As you were talking, I was thinking to myself, oh shoot, I gotta update my channel art. But now I know where to go to do it. So that's fantastic. Um, I think it was the final chapter of your book you mentioned talking about time management, right? And how to work YouTube into a busy schedule. Because on the one hand, you don't want to let this stuff take all of your time, but you do have to allow it a good amount of time to happen because it is a time-consuming process. So what advice can you give to people when it comes to managing their time and their YouTube channel?
Well, I've never been really great at time blocking, but this kind of forced me to learn how to do some time blocking. So at the beginning, I was recording on Thursday mornings. I waited until my husband left for work, the kids went off to school, the house was quiet, nobody was here. I would get up, I would do my hair, I would put on my makeup, I would turn on the lights, I would do everything and record one video. And then after a while, it was like, well, that's stupid. If I'm going to do all of this to get ready to film, I ought to record at least 2 or 3 videos, if not 4. So my goal was to then record 4 videos back to back. Then I'm done for a month because I only do 1 video a week. So if I can spend, say, 2 hours on a Thursday morning once a month and bang out 4 videos, then that is a huge time saver. So you can start making them weekly, but then you quickly realize that this is not the most effective way to do this. I should just do it once a month instead of doing it every single week. Then when it's on my calendar, you do not cancel it. If you get a client that calls and says, I want to go out and see houses on Thursday morning at 10 a.m., you say, I'm sorry, I already have an appointment, but how about noon? Could we do it at noon instead? You wouldn't cancel client A to go out with client B. You have to consider your video making time as an appointment, and you don't just cancel that appointment unless, you have to go to a closing or something that can't, but then you reschedule it for, okay, I'm going to do it later in the day, or I'm going to do it the day before, or I'm going to do it the day after, but you still have to put it back on your calendar. You have to make the time for this. And if you are doing other lead gen strategies, let's say that you are calling expireds every morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. If you're doing that, God bless you. I don't think I could ever do that. But maybe you do this instead of calling expireds just 1 day a week. You don't have to like scrap everything else that you're doing, but you could replace one thing so that you can get this done. And then if something is just not in your wheelhouse, there is no shame in outsourcing it. So if you don't know anything about video editing and you just don't have the time to learn, or you are not techie and you don't want to learn, it is perfectly okay to get a virtual assistant for $3 an hour who's going to edit the video for you. And that's what I have. I have a VA in the Philippines. I record the video. I give it to her. She does all of the editing. We go back and forth with, I give her some feedback on the first draft if I need her to make any revisions. And then when it's done, I just upload it to YouTube. So if you don't want to do that, spend $20 and hire somebody who will do it for you. It's okay. Because if you spend $20 for the video and you make $5,000 from a sale and you get a commission check, that's a pretty good return on investment, wouldn't you say? And so your YouTube channel absolutely will start bringing you business if you do it with a strategy and you are consistent doing it.
I love hearing you talk through these things because these are like the exact things that I know other people need to hear, and that a lot of times I need to hear. But I think you're totally right about like putting it on your calendar, right? This is one of those things you can't just like squeeze in time for here or there. Like you have to give it a base and you have to give time to happen. So I'm a big fan of, yeah, blocking off, putting a recurring event on your calendar so that every day or every week that's open. Good overview of the book that you've done. And again, it was written for real estate agents, but I read it and took a ton of value from it. There was maybe, 20% of it that I had to throw away because it wasn't any good because I wasn't in real estate. The other 80% of the book totally applied to me and my YouTube channel. So I would highly recommend people reading this. Go check that out. Now, the thing that I also wanted to kind of have a chance to talk through with you is what you've learned from so many years of working with real estate agents, right? You've had hundreds of real estate agents go through your coaching program at this point. So you've had a lot of experience working them through the discomfort on camera. You've also had a lot of experience working them through the logistical barriers. You've seen a lot of the mistakes they made. You've seen the things they've done right. So I'd love to talk through that. And considering this is, the Angari Video Confidence channel, I figure the best place to start is let's talk about, what holds people back on camera. In particular, what I'm concerned about, or I guess curious about is the right word for this. What I'm curious about is you have all these, in your case, real estate agents you're working with who are very public facing professionals who meet clients all the time, who in some cases have billboards of themselves up on the road, who have their faces on signs. Like, they're generally fairly visible people. So why would someone who spends their whole day talking to clients and having photos of themselves plastered all over the internet, why would someone like that feel so uncomfortable being on camera? It doesn't just make sense to me.
That is the $1 million question, Jonathan. And if you can figure that out, you will become a millionaire, because I don't get it either. Now, we all have this fear of being judged and found lacking, right? But you're being judged every day, whether you know it or not. If I go to Kroger on Saturday morning in sweatpants with no makeup on and my hair in a bun, and I look like death warmed over because I needed milk because the kids wanted cereal and we were out of milk, people are judging me. They're going to look at me and be like, dang, girl, could you at least brush your hair before you left the house? It's happening whether we know it or not. It's going to happen on YouTube as well. But nobody has ever said, I almost hired you, but you have a little bit of a spare tire. You need to lose 10 pounds around the middle. So I'm not going to work with you after all. They are not hiring me because of what I look like. They are hiring me because of my expertise and what I can do for them, and because they feel like they know, like, and trust me after having watched all of these videos. If they don't hire me based on my appearance, good riddance. I wouldn't want to work with them anyway. I don't want to work with somebody that shallow. But to my knowledge, nobody ever has not hired me because of my appearance. Or if they did, they didn't call me to tell me that that was happening. They just didn't call. So just be yourself on camera. The way that you sound on camera is the way you sound in real life. I know everybody says I hate the way my voice sounds. Well, guess what? The way it sounds on YouTube is how it sounds in real life. So if you don't like your voice, I'm sorry, but aside from getting a speech coach, there's really not much you're going to be able to do about it. So don't make it an issue. It's not an issue. Has anyone ever said, I didn't hire you because I hate how your voice sounds? If they did, then perhaps maybe you should find a speech coach. But most people are not going to ever say, I hate the way your voice sounds, and therefore I don't want you to represent me and sell my house. Like, that's just not an issue. As far as how you look, okay, we could all be younger and more fabulous looking and lose a few pounds, but everybody thinks that. Are you really going to allow that to prevent you from making a good living? I mean, if I told you that you could do 20 extra deals a year from your YouTube channel, would you really let that stop you? Like, I need to lose 10 pounds, so therefore I'm not going to ever be on camera. Here's a tip: film from here up. Nobody can see if you've got a little bit of a spare tire. Film from your collarbones up and nobody will be able to tell. You can get a ring light, which is very flattering. You can put on makeup, ladies, guys. I just envy you so much that most guys don't care. They spend 5 minutes to do their hair and get dressed, and now they're ready for the camera. We women tend to take a little bit longer to get camera ready, but seriously, nobody cares. Are there trolls on the internet? Sure. These are people that I am convinced are like living in their parents' basement. They're probably 17-year-old kids. They will say whatever they want because it's completely anonymous. You can't really prevent that. But you know what? Like, I'm laughing all the way to the bank when I'm getting these types of leads that I can convert and they close and it's bringing me business. And then you're becoming a mover and shaker in your market. You have to form a team. Like, you're speaking on national stages, for crying out loud. Bomb is inviting me to be on their podcast. Like, you get over it pretty quickly because this is what I look like. This is what I sound like. If you don't want to hire me, that's okay. There are plenty of other people that do. And it's kind of liberating the older that I get. Like, you just remember Sophia from the Golden Girls, how she just had no filter and she said whatever she wanted. You start to gain that perspective with age. Like, I just don't care anymore. This is how I am. I've decided I have so much gray hair, I am going to let it grow out. I'm going to stop coloring my hair because why? I've been doing this for 30 years now trying to color my hair, and if anything of being in quarantine has taught us, like everybody is in the same boat. All of my friends are in the same boat. We all have these gray roots, and I'm like, why are we spending thousands of dollars a year to try to cover it up? I'm over it. I'm letting it grow out. I'm publicly declaring I'm letting my hair go gray. And if you don't hire me because of it, so what? But I guarantee you, I'll probably get 50 people that do hire me and say, I love that you just were able to embrace your flaws and all. Or, you know, some people think that silver hair is awesome and it's not a flaw at all. It all is perspective, right? So it takes practice. It's not like the first time I ever made a video, that was my intent. But the more you do it, like the less you care about your appearance. It's all about, how can I serve the customer? How can I help the client? How can I answer their questions, solve their problems, be a resource to them? And when you take the focus off of yourself and you make it all about how can I help you, like what you look like starts to become pretty irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
And I personally haven't struggled too much with how I look. For me, like my voice was a big part of it. But I do know that during quarantine, I let go of a lot of things that I was like really hung up on professionally, right? Things that were eating up all my attention and my focus and that were really bothering me and holding me back. And you're totally right that when you finally get that point where you just say, you know what? I don't care. I am who I am. I am what I am. I'm just going to be that and hell with people who don't like it. It is so, so freeing. There's this like settling feeling of peace of like, you know what? I'm no longer caught up and tied up in this outcome and worried about this. I can just let it go and be me and exist. And oh, it is so freeing. And of course, having a 5-year-old daughter, every time I feel that way, I can't stop hearing Elsa singing in my head, "Let It Go." But it's a pretty good song, so I guess that can help in those moments. All
Agreed.
right,
Agreed.
so that's the comfort on video. I totally agree with everything you said there. And yeah, people generally really don't care as much as you think they care, right? Especially the people who matter really don't care. You care about that stuff, but you're usually the only one. Um, Question here: What when you're looking at people's YouTube channels and kind of their success or lack of success, there's obviously two variables that seem to be really important, right? One is producing quality content, and one is sticking with it and being consistent. They're obviously both important ingredients, but for you, could you I guess weigh the relative importance of those two ingredients?
Well, at the beginning, we all stink. So just assume that your first 20 videos are going to be terrible because you don't just start amazing. You have to get better over time. And I love to watch other YouTube channels by people that are in real estate and people that are not in my industry. I watch other vloggers and beauty YouTubers and car shows. And there's a guy that's a plumber that's hysterical. Like I'll watch these other channels and try to see what are they doing that keeps my attention so riveted. Like, why am I watching this guy? There's a guy named Mark Rober. He used to be a NASA engineer. He quit NASA and now is a full-time YouTuber. The last video of his that I watched, he had built an obstacle course in his backyard to thwart the squirrels from getting into the bird feeder and stealing all the bird food. It was like a half-hour long video. I watched the whole thing. I was riveted the whole time. Why? Because he is such a great storyteller. And I'm trying to watch this video thinking, okay, what is he doing that I could try to incorporate into my channel? Even though like my channel is not an entertainment channel, I'm talking about buying and selling a house in Savannah, which is not all that humorous and funny, but could I make my videos funny? Yeah, I can because I have a sense of humor, and why not show that on camera? So I do a lot of research, watching other people and taking notes and thinking, could I incorporate those types of elements into my videos? Probably the number one thing though is that how many videos do you watch where this is what you see? The person is talking to the camera, but they're not looking at the camera. They're looking at their face on their phone screen, but they're not looking at the camera lens. it is awkward for the viewer. Like, I need you to be making eye contact with me. So you have to figure out, where is the camera lens if you're using your phone. Typically, it's like right by where your ear goes if you were talking on the phone. So on the iPhone, I don't have mine with me, there's like a horizontal bar that where you listen, and like right next to it is a teeny tiny dot. I'm not sure where it is on the Android, but probably in a similar spot. And when you turn on your phone and you start talking to it, you've got to consciously look at that lens. Because if you're not, and you're looking over here, it's just off-putting, and people will not stick around and watch the video. So if they click on the video and after 10 seconds they bail, that video is never going to do well on YouTube, because people are just not relating to it. So look at the camera lens, make eye contact, try to make the videos interesting. But then again, if you're talking about its market update, how interesting can you make it? So you've got to give them stuff to look at, maybe have music in the background, have some sound effects, crack a few jokes. If you're a funny person, there's nothing that says you have to wear a business suit and be standing in front of a whiteboard or a flip chart writing stuff out. Like, stats are dull and dry and boring. What can you do to make it more interesting? I did a video, it was a market update video. And at the time, we were in a super hot seller's market where you would list the house and you'd get multiple offers the first day. So I dressed up as different characters, and I put the phone on a tripod on my front porch, and I walked up to the front door and went, ding dong, am I too late for the open house? And then I changed clothes and I went, ding dong, am I too late for the open house? And so I was like 4 different people coming to the open house, just to reiterate the fact that, like, if you do an open house, you get all these people that are coming, you're going to get offers, the house is going to sell fast. So if you're the seller, that's awesome. But if you're the buyer, you've got to be prepared. Like, you've got to have your financing in order. You're going to have to be prepared to write a strong offer. You're not going to be able to take 3 days to think about it, all the things. So it was a market update video, but I was trying to make it a little more exciting. So just plan the video out. What am I going to talk about? What should I show on camera while I'm talking? Because even though you can hear me, it doesn't mean that that's what you're looking at. So I'm talking about the market, but I'm showing the ding dong, am I too late for the open house? That's called B-roll. What will your B-roll be that is visually interesting to keep people watching for a long time? And then consistency, like, you hit the nail on the head. You can't do this one time and think that you're going to be a YouTube star. I've made a video once a week for 3 years straight. Is it time consuming? Heck yeah. But guess what? I do no other lead generation now. It works so well. That is literally all we do. We make a YouTube video. I have my virtual assistant go create a corresponding blog post. She embeds the video in the blog post. We share it out on Facebook and Pinterest and Google My Business. That's it. Don't have to run a ton of ads. Don't have to do open houses, don't have to door knock, don't have to cold call, don't have to buy leads from the big portals, don't have to do all of those other things, because this one strategy is so effective. If you Google moving to Savannah, living in Savannah, retiring in Savannah, Savannah cost of living, we show up all over the first page of the Google search results organically. Like, you can't buy that kind of prospecting. It's very, very, very effective.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I love what you mentioned about like learning from other YouTubers on how to hold people's attention. Because that is one thing I'm finding is very difficult, right? I recently looked at some of my YouTube stats and realized the watch time of my videos was not nearly what I thought it would be. I was like, holy crap. So it's hard to get people to stick around to the end of a video. And what you're talking about there, I've heard on a previous interview with Vanessa Van Edwards, she talks about that as she says it's mode switching is the word she uses. So you switch from just talking and sharing facts, and then you go into telling a story, and then you go into having bullet points up on a diagram, and then you go into a chart, and then you go back to just talking, like, and you just kind of every couple of minutes you switch up what mode you're communicating in, which again is something I wouldn't normally have thought of, but now that I think about it, a lot of videos that have held my attention, they're doing that mode switching back and forth. And if you don't want to get too high tech with it, again, it doesn't have to be anything too crazy. But just minor changes in how you're delivering the message, I have heard makes a big difference. Um, Something else that I've heard helps with helping people finish the video, and I don't know if it necessarily applies to a longer form YouTube video, but it certainly applies to like, shorter videos you do, is telling people in advance how many things you're going to cover and then kind of counting them off one, two, three as you go, because that kind of creates an open loop people want to close the loop and finish the story. Particularly if you tell them what they're going to learn, right? We're going to cover X, we're going to cover Y, we're going to cover Z. It makes people want to stick around to get the Z because then they kind of know what they're missing if they bail early. Have you found that to be true as well?
Yes, people love a good list, right? So if you say 7 things you need to know before relocating to Denver, they start to watch, they get to number 4, they could leave, but they're like, well, I know that there are only 7, so I'm going to stick around and stay till the 7th one. You can tease some big reveal like 7 things you need to know before moving to Denver, and you're not going to believe what number 7 is. So make sure you stick around to the end. You can say, and if you stick around to the end, I'm going to have a free download for you. Anything you can do to tease that they need to stick around to the end, or stick around because all of my great bloopers are going to be at a blooper reel at the end. Anything you can do to encourage them to continue to watch. And I love that you talked about your analytics, because most people completely ignore the analytics. You can log into the back end of your YouTube channel, and after about a day or two of uploading the video and making it public, you go look at your analytics. And if you see that you have an average watch duration of at least 50%, they're watching at least 50% of the video, that is going to get promoted by the YouTube algorithm much, much more so than if your average view duration is only 10%. So if you see that it's 10%, click on it and open up that big graph and go, okay, where am I losing people? And if you say, hey everyone, today we're going to talk about 10 things you need to know about moving to Denver, and then you play that intro, and you know the one that I'm talking about. It's the intro that people go and buy that's 30 seconds long, and it shows you opening the door and sitting at the closing table, signing the documents and shaking the hand of your client and receiving the big award from your brokerage for production. And it's a 30-second commercial of, look how great I am. Let's all take a moment to appreciate my greatness, shall we? People
Yeah.
leave during that thing. They don't want to watch a commercial. They did not come to YouTube to watch a commercial. So if you see that there's this huge drop off in viewers during the opening sequence, stop using the opening sequence or make it much, much, much shorter, like a 4-second branding, and then it's gone. It's just your little logo flashed up on the screen with a cool jazzy music behind it, and then it's gone. And now we're talking about the topic. Like you got to look at what's doing well and what's not doing well. And if it's not doing well, you just don't continue to keep doing it over and over again. Because, right, what's the definition of insanity?
Yeah. So now it's about, again, you have a coaching program for real estate agents where you kind of teach them how to grow and build a good YouTube channel. I'm sure over the years with how many people you've helped, you can probably, and maybe I'm wrong, feel free to just kind of shut me down if this I'm wrong, but I'm imagining, early on when you're working with someone, you can probably get a pretty good gut sense to how likely someone is to see success with their YouTube channel and how likely someone is to, give up or not see success. Do you have any idea like what those variables are, right? Have you noticed any patterns that tell you, ooh, this person would be great on YouTube, they should definitely do YouTube, versus, hey, this probably isn't their cup of tea, they should probably find something else? Have you noticed any patterns?
I definitely have. And it's interesting because you would think the people that are big extroverts would be the ones that are amazing. And that's not necessarily the case. There are a lot of people that consider themselves to be introverts, and they're great on YouTube. The number one thing is your mindset. If you are constantly saying, this is so hard, I don't have the tech knowledge, I can't do this, I don't have the time, and you're just saying that to yourself over and over and over again, you're right, you're not going to see success because you've already trained your mind that this is too hard and it takes too much time and you're not going to be able to do it. So much about our business is mindset. You have to go into this saying, it's going to work. It's going to be fun. I'm going to love this. I was talking with one of my coaching students in Florida a couple days ago, and she said, I watched you on a webinar or something, and I thought, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. So she signed up for my program, and as she was going through the training, she said to me, I was going, oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to start doing this. This is going to work. She didn't even make her first video until the week before we were all locked down. So I think it was second week of March. And now she's getting 3 and 4 leads a week. So it's only been a couple of months. It's crazy how fast it worked for her because she knew it was going to work. And that's the same story for myself. When I decided to start making videos, I went to YouTube and I typed in Savannah, Georgia real estate, Savannah real estate agent, realtors in Savannah, homes for sale in Savannah. There was nobody doing this except for listing tours, tours of the house, which is not evergreen content because as soon as the house sells, that video is no longer relevant. But nobody was face to camera making lots of videos except for one guy, and bless his heart, he was chugging along, doing it over and over and over again, but he had no views. Like most of his, I think he had 3 subscribers to his channel at the time. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is ripe for the picking. I have no opposition. I've got no competition. This is totally going to work. And it never occurred to me of will it work or will it not? It was only how long is it going to take before it starts to work? Like I had the mindset, I knew it was going to work. And so I operated from the position of it's going to work. Does it take 2 months? Does it take 4 months? Does it take 6 months? I don't know, but it's going to work because nobody else is doing this. And even if there are other people in your market doing it, you have a totally different perspective as them. You have a different personality. Maybe you're going after a different target market. Maybe that person is helping first-time millennial home buyers and you're going to target people that are downsizing. You can each have a successful channel. You'll target different people. You'll attract different people by your personality and by the content that you're putting on the channel. So much of it is about mindset. And then a lot of it is, where are you located? Are you in a major metropolitan area or are you in a teeny tiny area like very rural? It might take longer. If you're in a rural area with a small population where maybe there's not a lot of turnover, it's probably going to take longer before you start to really see results, simply because there are fewer people that live in your area. But if you live in Denver, the Metro Denver area, or somewhere that's a fairly large city, you're probably going to see success faster. Now, does that mean you're not going to see success if you live in a little area? No. I have a client that lives in Iowa. It took her a year before she got her first lead. Now she has leads coming in left, right, and center. And I think the very first lead she got, the guy was approved for $1.4 million. She got like a $25,000 commission check. So yes, it took a whole year before she got her first lead, but she didn't give up. She was consistent, and now it's paying off in spades. So it'll work for everybody if you just make the commitment that it might take a while, but I'm going to keep doing it even if I'm not seeing results. I'm going to analyze what I'm doing so that I can get a little bit better with every single video. If I see something that's not working very well, I'm going to stop doing it. I'm going to see what other people are doing that is working very well. And you can absolutely rip off and deploy, right? If you live in Denver and you're watching somebody that's in Los Angeles, why can't you make a video like theirs about your area? You're not competing with them. You're not going to plagiarize what they say in the video. You're going to say it in your own way, in your own voice, for your own area. But why reinvent the wheel? If you can see what other people are doing that is successful, do it in your own area. Why not?
And you mentioned there that, one of the determining factors is mindset, right? But some people might not start out with the best mindset despite, their best efforts. And some people might start off with a great mindset and then, have some early failures and start to feel that mindset shifting negative. Have you found anything that helps you or helps your client when you're starting to feel your mindset going towards the negative to kind of boost your resolve again?
Yes, I tell them to go to my channel and look at my oldest video. That always makes them feel much better about themselves because, like I said, the first videos stink. Then there are a lot of YouTube channels talking about mindset where you can like listen to these subliminals as you fall asleep at night. There's a guy named Bob Baker that has a channel. I love to listen to his stuff. He's got a bunch of morning affirmations. So they're about like 7 minutes long. You just put your earbuds in the morning when you're drinking your cup of coffee and you just listen to this stuff saying, I am good at what I do. I am here to serve my clients. I am a great resource for them. And you just tell yourself this stuff over and over again until eventually your psyche starts to believe it. It might feel weird to you and you might say, What are you talking about? No, I'm not. I'm not good at this at all. I stink. Nobody's ever going to watch me. You kind of have to retrain your brain. But once you do, that's when things really start to happen. I mean, if you're a believer in manifestation and you have vision boards, I wholeheartedly believe that those things help you, because you really just have to change the narrative that you tell yourself, change the story that you tell yourself. Instead of saying, I don't have time, there are not enough hours in the day, I can't do this, change the story and say, making videos is fun. This helps me get new clients. I love doing this. I am going to see results. And yes, at the beginning, it feels like you're lying to yourself. You're telling yourself this and you're going, no, this totally is not true. But after you say it over and over and over again, your subconscious starts to believe it. And then once you believe it, now it becomes true for you. It's not just that this is what I think, it's this is fact. I believe this. This is now a fact. If this is a fact, this is true. So I'm operating from that position of, I already know this to be true. I already know that this is going to work for me, and I know that I'm going to be successful doing it. So you do the things that will make that happen, because now you're just operating from this perspective of, yes, this works. So what do I need to do in order to make that happen? And it all starts with just shifting your perspective in your mind.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Karen. Like, I have still managed to learn something, even though I already read your book. We covered new ground here that I learned. And again, I want to kind of read it for everyone out there. If you're a real estate agent, you absolutely need to be buying her book for sure. But even if you aren't in real estate, what you learn in that book, 80% of it applies to any industry, and it really will be valuable for you. So highly encourage you to check that out. Karen, do you have anything going on right now? Any events coming up? Anything you want to mention?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a free 5-day challenge starting August 17th. And we are going to help you set up your YouTube channel so that you can just hit the ground running, like start making content to put on the YouTube channel and know that it's going to start bringing you business. So if you would like to sign up for the 5-day challenge, you can go to youtubeforagents.com/August 2020. So youtubeforagents.com/August 2020. Sign up for the challenge. If you're not able to attend live each day, we will have a replay, but I encourage you to join live so that you can ask questions. It's very interactive. And over the course of the 5 days, we're going to get that YouTube channel set up for you so you can start doing this.
That's so cool. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Karen. It was great talking with you.
Thank you again for having me. I really had fun talking to you today. Thanks, John.